Alright, so we have our tables and fields set up. Now what I want to do is create our relationships from within PHPMyAdmin. And there's a really cool option called Designer, which will give us a diagram of our database, which we'll look at after we add the relations. So I briefly explained this in past sections, but let's take the products and product categories tables. Inside of products, in our structure, we have a field called category, and this is going to be a foreign key that's going to be linked and have a relationship with the ID field in the product categories table. Okay, so this category is going to have a relationship with this ID field in the product categories table. Alright, so in order to do that, we need to go to products and we need to add an index to our foreign key, which is going to be category. And all we need to do is go over here to the more and click on index and that'll add an index for that field. Now if we go down and we click on this relation view, you can see that our ID obviously is a primary key, okay, and category, since we created an index, we have this drop down. You can see the other fields says no index defined. Alright, so the relationship to the category is going to be in the product categories table, and it's going to be the ID field. Alright, so we have a few different options here for when we delete or update rows in the parent table. So restrict, what that means is that let's say that we delete a product category. It's not going to let us if any of the products in the product table have that category. Alright, and we have a few options here. Cascade basically means if we delete a product, and the category that it's linked to will also be deleted. Alright, so it'll basically delete both tables. Set null, that's going to just set the value in the categories table as null. And let's see, no action, obviously it would just delete the product and that's it. It wouldn't carry over to the category table. So I'm going to set this to, I'm just going to keep it at restrict. Alright, so let's click save, and now we have our foreign key set up for our parent, our products and our product category table. Alright, and I should mention a few things here. One is that in order to do this, we need to have our storage engine as InnoDB, and MySQL obviously requires indexes on foreign keys, and basically they have to have the same data type, so the ID in the categories table and the category in the products table have to both be the same data type. Alright, so they're both integers, or else it wouldn't work. So let's add the rest of our foreign keys. So that's products and categories. We have customers and customer addresses as well. So if we click on customers, actually we need to click on customer addresses, and the customer field right here is going to have an index, and that's going to be our foreign key. Okay, so if we go down to relation view, customer, we don't want that, is going to have a relationship with the customers table ID field, and we'll keep that as restrict as well. Alright, so what else do we have? Reviews. Reviews is going to have actually two foreign keys, customer and product, so we're going to add indexes to both. And then if we go to relation view, customer is going to go to the customers table ID field. Product will go to the products table ID field. Save that. and let's see, page categories. Actually, we need to go to pages, and then we're going to choose category. We're going to add an index. Okay, relation view, and we're going to set this to page categories ID. And let's see, I think that's it. Products, reviews. Alright, so that should be it. We've added all our relations, and we can use this designer, which is, I don't know the last version or the first version of PHP-MyAdmin that has this designer, but I know it's not in some of the older versions. But if we click on it, basically get this graphical diagram, which is basically all our tables. Let me just try to organize this a little bit. I guess that'll do. Alright, so let's take our reviews table, for instance. So we have our customer ID and our product ID, and they have relationships. For instance, the customer goes to the customer's table, and the product field is linked to the products table. Alright, so pages, we have the category going to the page categories ID. Same thing with product categories. Customer addresses is going to the customers table. So it just gives us a nice little view of our structure. So that's it for this video. Now that we have our tables, fields, and relationships set up, we can start interacting with the database, and we can do different queries. We want to definitely insert some data first, and I'll show you how to do that through PHP-MyAdmin. But then we want to start learning SQL. We want to know the language, how we can select, insert, update, and delete records from this database. And we can do it through PHP-MyAdmin. We can do it through the command line. We can do it through MySQL Workbench. So we have a couple different utilities we can use to interact with the database. But before we do that, I want to show you what the restrict and cascade options do, because I don't think I explained that well enough. So let's go to, we'll insert a product category. Alright, now to insert data in PHP-MyAdmin is very easy. You just click on Insert, make sure you're on the table you want, click Insert, and what are we doing? We want to create a category, so we'll say test category 1. Actually, you know what? Let's put real names. We'll say electronics. This is the electronics category. Image we'll leave blank. Let's create another one here. Let's say, I don't know, home and garden. Okay, so down here we'll click Go. Alright, so it says 2 rows inserted. Now if we go to our browse, you can see we have these two. We have electronics and home and garden. So now let's go and open up the products table, and we want to insert a product. Now since we have our foreign key restraints set up, category here is now a drop down. Alright, and we can choose the ID of the category that we want. Alright, so let's create, what should I do here? Let's just say Android phone, Android based smartphone, price, let's say $299.99, and that's going to be in the electronics, which is the category with the ID of 1. Image we'll leave create date, is going to be the current timestamp. All right, so now let's say, I don't know, we'll just say patio set. I don't know. We'll say this is a patio set, and price we'll say $99.99, and that's going to go in the home and garden category. Let's click go. Alright, so now our products, we now have 2 products. And if you remember, let's go back to products and then click on structure and then relation view. Alright, so we have our restrict on delete and update. So what this means is that if we have a product that's in a certain category and then we try to delete that category, it's not going to let us. So let's give that a try. If we go to products categories, and remember we have the Android phone in the electronics category, so let's go ahead and try to delete this. Alright, so we get this error saying cannot delete or update a parent row. A foreign key restraint fails. Okay, so that's good, that's what we want. Now, if we go ahead and go back to our relations view in products and click on structure, relation view. Alright, now if we change this, let's change it to cascade. And click save. Now if we go back to our categories and I keep going to page categories. Go to product categories, and let's go ahead and delete the home and garden category. Now remember, we have our patio set with this category. So if we delete this, alright, so it does delete. And if we go back to our products, you can see that the patio set is now gone. Okay. That's not, well, I guess, it depends on how you want your application to run, but I would suggest keeping it on restrict. I'm actually going to go back and change it, but I just wanted to show you how that works. Products, structure. Okay, I'm going to, and again, you can use null, so that would have set the Android phone to null, or the patio set to null, and we could also use no action, which would just keep all the products intact. Okay, so let's save that. Alright, so that's it for our creating relationships. Like I said, in the next chapter, we'll get into writing queries and interacting with our database.